Yep, I already know what you're thinking. You are gonna skip to the end, pause the video, take a look at the list that I have made, and disagree with everything, even without listening to my explanations. Hello everyone, Xiao here, and now I'm gonna be discussing Season 9 PvP tier list. Now, I know I'm late, my apologies. Season is about to end in like a month now from the moment that I recorded this. Hopefully next season I will try to be as early as possible, and yeah, let's start. This is not a PvE tier list, this is not a waifu tier list as well. This is just about mainly season 9 indoor PvP that we have at the moment. So first up, I mean, this is very obvious. It's so hard to compete on PvP without her. If you haven't seen my No Swimsuit Shiroko challenge, I will post it up there. Just click it. And yeah, you will always have value with her. Like, most fights do not last more than 60 seconds, so her basic already has value with crit rate, cost recovery, and then essentially she's giving you 5 cost. Actually more than Shun, because easily discount unconditionally 1 to each of your characters. It's pretty good, man. You can never go wrong with using her. Next up, Kuroko. Most PvP fights in high platinum, I would say like 50 and above, tends to be whoever pops the enemy Kuroko second wind wins. Like, sometimes you will lose 1 second or even a millisecond. If you see the timer 14 seconds on your own Kuroko and the enemy Kuroko has 13, you know you've lost. So yeah, without her, it's really bad, man. She's also very strong. She can potentially one-shot Marina, even a UE60 Marina. She can one-shot a UE60 Haruka at around 70% health. She's a big threat to any blue tanks. This is why there's no OP or great blue tanks in the meta right now. We'll get it. Aside from being a DPS, you will always have value with her because if she get popped, her second wins, she stays on the field for 15 more seconds, so you do not instantly lose cost recovery. Spoiler alert, there's only 2 of them that's gonna be on the Queens category. You will use them. If you have them, you will use them in both offense and defense, no matter what. Next up, Iori. She's very common, she's really strong, man, loves indoors, great mood. She can literally 1EX any blue and any yellow tanks. The fact that she loves indoors gives her better chance at blocking with the use of cover, so she can survive, but she can still get killed easily if positioned wrongly. We'll get there later. The meta pretty much revolves around Iori, or playing against Iori. She's the go-to yellow striker DPS, good in both attack and defense. She's farmable. Everyone has access to her. There's a high chance you already have her like UA40 and above. But the reason why I won't be putting her on the Queens category is because you don't use her 100% of the time. There are times when you are going to be fighting 2 frontline tanks. She doesn't really do anything. Yes, it happens. So let's discuss who counters Iori. The red tanks, Haruka and Marina. Let's discuss Haruka first. So Haruka can charge, also a threat to the backline. She's really tanky, but I won't suggest using her before UE40. She really dies way too fast, she's so soft. Start using her at UE40. Okay, she's also farmable, so chances are you already have her built, so use her. The other one, Marina, high evasion as well, really wide AoE. She's also a threat to Iori. Like, for example, you see Iori on defense, you can use your Marina in there, and then once you use her EX, she's yellow attack and red armor. So she resists Iori. The AoE that she provides is just really wide. It's like half the map. So she can charge against her and boom. There are times where I cannot draw my Iori and then Marina charges at her and then she just dies in 1 Marina EX. It happens. For Haruka though, she can tank Iori all day. Like 2 or 3 EX of Iori, if they can rotate that much, Haruka can survive if it's 1v1. She cannot one-shot Iori, but just softening Iori up is good. We'll discuss that on the special section. So what if you don't have both of them to counter Iori? We have Amy. So the reason why I won't put her in good or great category is because she doesn't do anything. She only heals herself and she's good at it. Like more healing, more sustain. She's like a punching bag. She doesn't fight back. Yeah, if you just need something to counter Iori, you can just use her. Let the other 3 strikers do something for her, I would say. She's not bad, okay? The fact that she is a shop student, very high chance that you have her built, probably UE14 above already, so yeah, might as well just use her. Next up, since we are discussing red tanks, how do you then kill the red tanks? Now, I did say that Kuroko is pretty much enough to counter most red tanks, but what if you are fighting 2 red tanks, right? Like one on D1, one on D4, and then you only have one Kuroko, maybe A1 or A4 position. You can use any of these. Saori, really strong, man, especially with the bond gear tier 2. She's really strong. Blue armor, meaning she resists Hibiki, Nagi. She resists Haruka if she gets charged. It's just a matter of what kind of team comp are you facing. Like for example, for Azusa, red damage dealer, yellow armor, Marina is still threatening her. You get what I mean? What if you don't draw Azusa fast and then Marina just rush you? She can still die. If you are fighting Mutsuki, Saori having blue armor, Mutsuki is a sniper for backline, so she can easily pop your Kuroko, she can easily pop your Shun. A very good character here. If you have to use another red DPS and then you see a Mutsuki, don't use Saori, use Azusa. You can position your Kuroko in front of enemy Marina and position your Azusa in front of enemy Haruka. You guys get the point. It's just about positioning who fights who, select your fights. Sure, PvP in Blue Archive is like totally random, especially with the card draw, evasion, crits, but we can help our students win by positioning themselves correctly. So yeah, Mutsuki is also in great category, man. She's very cheap. Remember when I said earlier that most platinum fights are just outstalling enemy Kuroko? Mutsuki can help you with that. I'm not sure if I should give alternatives for red DPS because Azusa is at the shop anyway, but let's just say you're not buying her for whatever reason at the shop. You can use Aru. Sure, she hates indoors, but she still deals a lot of damage, but if you don't draw her first, it feels bad. But you can use her. I already mentioned Shun, so let's go Shun. I won't put Shun higher than good because first reason is she doesn't have the best mood indoors. Plus, there's always the chance of breaking your whole team, and if you get bricked by Shun, it really feels horrible, man. But as always, she has smart AI, very long range. She's almost always in cover. She always hits the DPS. She ignores tanks. That's why I mentioned smart AI. Another red striker that I would recommend is Haruna. She's still pretty strong, man, but she's very slow. Like, her cost is really high, but the way her EX works, I'm not sure if this was a bug or maybe just for those who haven't fought her yet or for those who doesn't have her. The way her EX works, bounces, it doesn't need to be AoE. In single target, it works, it bounces in one enemy. I'm not sure if it was intended or just wrongly worded, but that's how it works. And now Nagi. If you have these 3, you can just gamble your way. Okay? If you just draw Haruna early, these 3, I would put them in here. Like minimum UE40 with at least Haruna and Nagi. This is very dangerous. You pretty much insta-win. But it can backfire though, which is why I will never put Haruna and Shun higher because you need these 3. Nagi is fine alone. You can use her just AoE damage dealer, loves indoors, so she hits pretty hard, but her basic tends to not activate because it activates every 50 seconds, and like I said earlier, fights doesn't last more than 50 seconds. Sure, there might be strategies for stall teams, but I won't really recommend them. They're not good in my honest opinion. Purely stalling outside of Kuroko mechanics is really bad. We'll see next season, foreshadowing. What if, let's say, you don't have Nagi? Hibiki is farmable, she's always good, she's never bad. If you cannot think of what special character to use in PvP, just bring Hibiki and you're never wrong. She's a high frequency attacker, that's what I call her. Every 20 seconds, her basic damages, already AoE. If you pop enemy Kuroko early, she's gonna be targeting that, and chances are, if your opponent is using Iori and Shun together, and they're next to each other, Hibiki is gonna target the lowest HP, meaning Kuroko, and then Iori and Shun might die as collateral damage. And again, she's farmable, man. You can never go wrong with her. Crit damage sub. Red special damage dealer could also be Minori and Yuzu, whoever you have built. They pretty much work the same way as Hibiki, AoE damage dealer, right? But they're a bit slower in terms of the basic skill. But yeah, if you already have a built Minori or Yuzu, you don't need Hibiki anymore. It's your choice. I've seen regular top 10 in my ranks prefer using Minori or Yuzu even before Nagi or something. They all hit really hard, but in terms of accessibility and team building, like Hibiki, farmable, very good. Another special red, for whatever reason you don't have them, you don't like using them, you can use Satsuki. She's not as strong as the previous season. Indoor mood is pretty bad. Plus, it's only single target. She's still a threat to Haruka and Marina or even Amy, but I would still prefer using Hibiki. Since we already talked about Satsuki, you can just go Utaha. Okay, Utaha is always good on attack but not on defense, because if you put your Utaha on defense, your enemies are just gonna use Hibiki against you, and Hibiki destroys all Utaha turrets very easily. What you can do instead is Swimsuit Ayane. Swimsuit Ayane works better in defense rather than offense because she spawns at the back. But for Utaha, she's one of the characters in Blue Archive where she does more than what's written on her skill. Because those turrets, it can function as distraction. There were fights where single target EX targets the turrets. For example, Satsuki EX can be tanked by the turret. Even Kuroko Grenade, we've seen that a lot of times. Shiroko Swimsuit EX can be tanked by one turret and then you lose nothing. Pretty darn good considering doing that. But just don't use your Utaha against someone like Nagi or Hibiki. If you're fighting Swimsuit Ayane, you can also use Utaha against them. And they both hit pretty hard in a bracket or in a meta where Oji-san is very common. Now that I mentioned Oji-san, I haven't put her up yet. Oji-san, very good character, can potentially stun, AoE stun even for 6 seconds, has 2 heals with her bond gear, and she's like the best tank for Kuroko. She can survive a Kuroko grenade, she can outstall Kuroko in a 1v1 fight because being a yellow armor as well, but she's very prone to Iori. Just always be careful if you watch any of my videos. The first thing I tend to ask myself is, where is enemy Iori gonna be? Because let's say enemy Iori is at D4. Obviously, my Oji-san is going A1. Okay, and then I will put my Haruka on A4. So she tanks Iori. You guys get what I'm saying, right? Now, let's say you don't have Oji-san for whatever reason. She's farmable, by the way. You haven't built her up. First off, Miyako. Miyako is always good. She can also tank Satsuki even. She has a stun on EX. Huge damage reduction on the sub. And she's at the shop. So, very high chance you have her built. UE40 and above. Very good. And if you don't have Oji-san and Miyako, Yuka. The thing with Yuka is that she doesn't do anything. She's like Amy. She shields herself, has high evasion, but that's it. Sure, her basic does single target damage, but it's pretty much negligible, honestly. Not to be rude against her, but if you don't have any yellow tanks to target Kuroko, let's say you are trying to get into Platinum even without the ones above here, Yuka is very cheap to build. If you see a Kuroko D1 in higher gold rank or lower platinum, you can still use Yuka just to tank her up. Another alternative tank, blue tank this time, it's Sumire. She's at the firing drill shop, same as Amy. Once again, there's a chance that you already have her built, preferably UE40 and above. But keep in mind that you really have to dodge Kuroko. Kuroko's gonna one-shot her, man, without a doubt, no matter what. The fact that she also has blue armor, Swimsuit Shiroko can target one-shot her. There were times when even Swimsuit Shiroko has bad mood on indoors, she can one-shot a UE50 or UE60 Marina. Not always, but there's a possibility. So, by using Sumire, I won't really recommend using her. Yeah, being blue armor, man. Her EX also behaves like a reverse Iori where she charges in front 3 times. It tends to only hit once. The other 2 shots doesn't hit anything. And you're gonna be sad about it. What other blue tank I would recommend instead? Tsubaki. Okay, I would even put Tsubaki in good category because she has self-heal and she has AoE taunt. Taunt is not exactly the most exciting thing in PvP, but you need it or you would want to use it because it still counts as CC, so you can somehow interrupt EX castings, basic skill castings, the animations. But again, as always, blue armor, you are very prone to Kuroko. I'm sorry to sound like a broken record, but that's how it works. If you see Kuroko D1 and then you have to use your Tsubaki against maybe a Haruna comp, you need blue armor, put your Tsubaki on A4 so Kuroko will not be able to one-shot her. If you see Kuroko on D1, use your maybe Oji-san or Yuka on A1 instead to tank that Kuroko, and then Tsubaki on 4. I hope I'm making sense. For those of you who are still confused about what am I saying, I highly recommend checking out some of my PvP videos that I would link up here. And thank you. I may not win all the time, but I hope you can learn something from me. Another yellow tank that is actually good is Reisa. She's not farmable though. Not that many of you might use her, but she's good. Her basic is not really reliable though because it activates 50 seconds. And once again, most fights doesn't last that long. She's also a threat to Iori. Some people might think she's bad because 1 second taunt, like what the hell is that, right? Again, it's not the taunt, it's the potential to interrupt something. There were times where my Iori casted her EX, she jumped back, and then Reisa casted her EX, and then boom, there goes my Iori EX. It was cancelled. Most people generally might want to use Reisa on offense against 1, 2, or 3, 4 yellow armors. What do I mean by that? If your opponent D1 Iori Oji-san or D3 D4 Iori Oji-san or any 2 yellows, you can still use Reisa there. Sure, she has yellow armor, but the potential to one-shot a backline is still good. Yeah, she's not bad at all. Plus the defense shred, and there's quite a lot of high defense units right now like Oji-san and Haruka. So yeah, if you have her build, yeah, why not? Another frontline that's gonna be alternative because Fest students tend to be the most common characters in Blue Archive. Like most people have them rather than the standards. So I would assume that some people have Mika even in lower ranks. Just try to use her on offense, not on defense. Because if your enemies use their Hibiki or Nagi, Mika's gonna die very quickly, man. She has red armor, she's in front. Swimsuit Shiroko can target her because once again she's in front. She's also very heavy at 6 cost. You're gonna take some time cycling with your EX bar. Speaking of Fest students that could be good, Hanako. Even having bad mood in indoors, she can still be used, kind of like how Mutsuki is used, just to pop enemy Kuroko fast. And she can still kill Shun, yellow armor, so if Oji-san charges at her, she'll die. Okay, but wide AoE is very cheap at 2 cost or 1 cost with Swimsuit Shiroko discount. Very good character. Basic skill, does defense shred once again. Frontline tanks, very high defense, so it's pretty good. Frontline tank that could be an alternative is Atsuko. I've seen some people back then tried using her, but yeah, same issue, man. Like, can get one-shotted by these queens right here. She's in front, healing, evasion. I won't recommend, but if you don't have any, might as well just use Tsubaki as your blue tank, okay? But if you like Atsuko, then I guess use her. Another blue some people used or even asked me about is Thais Yuka because very thick shields. But no, she's in the category, man. She moves your team. You're gonna get grouped up. You're gonna become very prone to AoE. She has blue armor. If you move your team, there's a possibility that you will cancel either their EX or their basic even. It's just weird, man. I won't recommend using Yuka, but if you want to experiment, go ahead. One more blue quote-unquote pseudo tank is Swimsuit Oji-san. In theory, she's good because she boosts your team's cost, but she's heavy, man. At 5 cost, very prone to both Shirokos. She's in frontline, she's in the tier. Just use them if you really don't have any, but Yuka and Tsubaki, they're both reliable already. Another Fest student is Wakamo. You can just use her as a generic blue damage dealer. She likes indoors as well, so her cover can work much better. Better chance rather. And there's not much to say. She's just a generic blue damage dealer. Long range, that's it. Another one is Hasumi, but only use this too alongside Kuroko. Or maybe if you don't have Kuroko, you can use this too. But try to see in your bracket who actually uses Tsubaki. For Hasumi, there's a strategy that I use. I use her in high platinum rank, around rank 5-ish, or rank 1 even. Some formations are like 1, 2, or 3, 4, both tanks, and then they just put Kuroko on the other side. So what do I mean by that? Both tanks, D1, D2, DPS on 3, and then Kuroko on 4. So one side just Kuroko. I used Hasumi before on my A4 just to snipe Kuroko, just to pop Kuroko early. Her timer is gonna start, and that's it. Very niche. I guess you can also use Wakamo with it, but I won't really recommend them. If you have Mutsuki, just use her. Alternative that could potentially work is Junko. Now, I will never ever recommend using Junko on defense. On offense, sure. On defense, no. Because Haruka. Just use Haruka. Junko is gonna be useless. Her zombie mode is on basic like Marina, so it can be cancelled. And unlike Marina though, Junko is very squishy. She's a DPS unlike Marina. So you can just one-shot her from 100 to 0. Even Haruka can do it. So on offense, where you are fighting like Oji-san, Iori, double layers of yellow, like Oji-san, Reisa, you can use Junko, yes. In terms of yellow, I somewhat forgot about her. I'm really tempted to put this girl in Queens because the amount of randomness that her EX provides and the amount of consistency her basic provides is really strong. I guess I'll just put her on great because there are times that you'd prefer other special characters to use. Back then, it's very easy to counter Saki. Just use Utaha. And then Saki's gonna use her EX on the turret. But if you are fighting, or if you have both Saki and Marina, like Marina is easily the counter to Utaha already. So your opponent cannot use Utaha against your Saki, if that makes sense. Her basic, the consistency of it is that it tends to target 3 lowest HP on the enemy team. If your Haruka charges Iori and then Iori is damaged, Saki on the 35-second mark will use her basic, targets 3 enemies, it's gonna hit guaranteed stun, guaranteed dots. That's how good Saki is. If you do have her, I highly recommend using her. She's really good and can mess with some other people's days. Most of my losses came from a Saki user. I'm not even kidding. Another yellow special damage dealer that you could use as an alternative is Makoto. Likes indoors, but I would only recommend using her if you are fighting 3 yellow defenses. So what do I mean by that? Oji-san, Reisa, Iori. So 3 yellows, wide AoE. Her basic pretty much does nothing. Sure, it's defense shred. It activates really slow. But yeah, usable-ish. Another special that tends to be asked about is EROha. Right now, no. I will put her in the A category because in my honest opinion, the only blue damage dealer you need right now is Kuroko, and then you only start thinking about a blue damage dealer if you don't have her. So EROha is really slow, she's really heavy. Even if you summoned her tank, enemy Iori can resist it, Reisa can resist it, Oji-san can resist it. There's not much blue characters that you're gonna be facing. But for whatever reason, if you are fighting 3 blue armored students, then yeah, just use her, man. But very unlikely, especially on high platinum. No people does that. Can work maybe in gold rank, but in platinum, I really don't think so. She's not scary. If you see her on defense, it's just EROha. But speaking of scary, most viewers or most people that come to my stream tends to be like, oh, Nagi. Like, no, Nagi is not scary at all. Be scared about Saki. My Akane, I really like Akane, but she's in the category. If you really don't have anything here for the special for whatever reason, she buffs your Kuroko because blue attack, and that's about it. Her blue damage doesn't really help much. One blue special that could actually work is Marie. She has AoE defense shred plus sustain on your team. Quote unquote sustain with the shield plus a cleanse, so she can come in clutch if one of your students gets stunned or something. She can cleanse that and then put up a shield. Once again, the ones you see here in the alternatives, I don't really recommend them. If you have any of these at top, start using them. Another underrated, Swimsuit Koharu, pretty much works like New Year Mutsuki, but a little less effective because AoE blue, she can somewhat pop Kuroko fast, kill at the backline Shun. Yeah, she can work. If you've already invested in her, you can use her. That's their job, just to kill the backline. Another blue damage dealer is Bunny Karin. She has the potential. Same issue with EROha. Maybe in the previous seasons, they're both very effective, but right now, not good, man. You can still use them, but there are better ones that you can use. So just use her if you already have her built, but good luck, I guess. It really pains me to do this, but I will also put Bunny Neru. In the previous season, she was very good. Right now, actually, no. There's always the upside of jumping to the backline plus evasion tank, but she just dies way too quickly, man. Especially that Iori is very common. But if you have her built, maybe you have her built up more than you built your own Yuka. Assuming you don't have Miyako. Sure, I guess. Dress Hina, for those who haven't seen my Dress Hina PvP, I tried using her because, you know, just to show people how she works. I even put her on defense on D1. Don't believe the defenses wins and attack wins there. She really doesn't do anything. I don't need to explain how she actually works. Go watch that video and judge for yourself whether you think you should be using her or not. In PvE, top tier, probably on top of everybody else, but in PvP, no. If only they can fix how she works. She has the potential to be really strong PvP as well. New Year Aru has the potential, but only potential. Just use Iori, man. She likes indoors, but really not good. Tank this time that I would put in a category is Miyako, but you know what? I'm gonna put Miyako on alternatives. You know what? Never mind. I'll put her back in a tier because her EX actually doesn't have an upside to it. Sure, it's very cheap, but if it was a stun, just like her OG variant, it would have been better. And you're banking on the fact that she evades quite a lot of hits just for you to get the cost and for her to survive for longer, but just use Yuka or Tsubaki, man, if you really don't have any other tanks. I forgot about her, but I'm gonna be putting Hasumi on good category. Her EX is very good, man, but very heavy. She is actually quite heavy at 5 cost. Wait, no pun intended, by the way. The shape of her EX can hit the backline as well, can pop Kuroko early. If you don't draw her early, it feels so bad. Like if you draw her 6th, like last on your team, there's a high chance she's already dead. She can get sniped by Shun. Her basic is non-existent. Believe me, man. It has a 7-second animation. Like even before it activates, it's either she's dead or the fight is over and you already won. If you draw her early, same as Iori, you pretty much win the game. Unless you bringing her against 2 red tanks, don't do that, okay? If you see D1 Marina or D1 Haruka, don't put your DPS like Iori against them, okay? I've seen this quite a lot. Do not ever do that, okay? Learn positioning, guys. Pick your fights. Pick the fights that you want your student to take, okay? It's our job as senseis. Sure, I said that stalling is not an option, but I will still put Serena and Nodoka on the alternatives tier, meaning you don't have any special right here, okay? I understand if you're using Serena or Nodoka because Serena being farmable, Nodoka at the shop, but eventually you are gonna be replacing them. Like, that's for sure. At least on the current season, okay? Once again, we'll see next season, man. If you've been watching the whole video and you are wondering what is this tier, it's the Disruptor tier. If you haven't watched my Akane PvP videos, I highly recommend watching it. I will link it at top right there on the corner. Either they easily win you games or they easily lose you a game. You also need practice on how to use her. Main tip that I could give is never ever use them blindly. What do I mean by that? If you are just doing your PvP, just do your usual team first. If you notice that the opponent only has 1 tank, you can use them. And then pull everything towards them and then hit the opponent's backline. Once again, I highly recommend checking how I use Akane in PvP because that's also how Tsurugi works, their movement speed, okay? For those who are wondering why the hell do they have movement speed, Do they need them? It's their niche to disrupt enemy formation. Big warning is that I won't recommend using them against an enemy that has both tanks in D1 and D4. They can never give you open way to the backline if their positioning is 2 tanks in 1 and 4. You can also use them as a setup so you can AoE damage them down. If you pull all enemies towards them and then you draw Nagi, you draw Hibiki, you draw Minori, and then drop their big AoE on 4 targets. Okay, it could happen. Don't ever use them on defense though. The attackers tend to have the advantage because once they see your defense, sure, probably they fail once, but the next attack, I'm pretty sure they already have an idea on how to tackle it. If you use either Tsurugi or Akane on defense, they can also use them against you. If you put Tsurugi on D4, they can also use Tsurugi A4 and then it balances things out. But in offense, once again, if they're using one tank, just use these two. You can just open their backline. If they have Mutsuki Shun on the backline, you can just jump through them, okay? You can easily pop Kuroko Second Wind, and that's how I would use the Disruptors, I would say. One more red DPS that I think is usable is Kotori. She also has pretty good range. She can push. For example, enemy Marina is charging at you. You can push Marina, and she's safe. She stays at the back. Does pretty darn good damage. She's very rare though, but if somehow you have her, you can use her. I won't recommend building her this late into the season. Once again, I apologize for being late, but if you do, I hope you didn't regret building her now. She is very usable. Okay, let me just see if I am gonna be changing anything. Yeah, I think that looks good. So, this video is catered towards maybe the people who are trying hard to get to Platinum or maybe get their highest season rank before the season ends. Once again, sorry for being late. I hope I can get a very early tier list on Season 10. I'll do my best. I do not claim to be the best Blue Archive PvP player, but all of this is just me sharing my knowledge after getting into consistent high Platinum ranks. Once again, if you're still not convinced because you don't want to listen to me, you just skip through this part of the video and just take a look and then disagree with everything I just said the whole video. I at least hope you could check out some of my PvP videos. You can maybe learn something in terms of positioning, and I always share my thought process. How would I approach a fight? I also sometimes give my feedback on my defenses, my defense wins, defense loss, and all that. And if you have a question, you can always come to my stream so I can explain properly. And that's about for me tonight, I guess. So if this helped you in some way, if you learned something, hopefully you can give me a sub. You can like the video, leave a comment or something, or share this even. But yeah, good luck on climbing. I hope you get your highest season best rank. Highest season best rank. Yeah, may the RNG gods bless us all. Take care, stay safe, and hope to see you in the next one. Good luck on your PvP and get that rank 1. Peace out.